Welcome to Coach and Company, presented by Code 3, now streaming.
All right, welcome into the Coach and Company podcast presented by Code 3, a movie all about the last 24 hours on the job as a paramedic. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll have the QR code all over the place, also in the chat. We encourage you to download, support the brand, support the movie. I am the coach. Mondays is our busiest day of the week. We already had the morning show. If you missed any of it, you can always go back and watch it on demand at our Coach and Company YouTube page. While you are there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share the show. We continue to grow every single week because of all of you. Don't forget, coming up this afternoon, 2 to 4 Eastern time, part of the Sirius XM Sports family, it is Off the Ropes with me, the coach. All of your pro wrestling content. Then at 5 p.m. Eastern time, right back here on our BTT YouTube page, Coach and Bro at 5 p.m. Then a special start time tonight, the Monday Night Grind, 6:45 p.m. Eastern time, because the first of two Monday night games kicks off right at 7 o'clock. So we want to get our best bets in 15 minutes early, and also who's going to get in to the Legends Lounge. Now, Week 7 in the NFL will wrap up tonight. And boy, what a weekend it was. Let's bring in my guy who will be sharing the airwaves with me today. Of course, my man, Mikey P. Mikey, I mean, where do we even start? I mean, it seems like every week the storylines get better and better and better. Some of the plays get worse and worse and worse. But I got to start in the Mile High City because we saw an historic comeback yesterday. And I really thought maybe the Giants would turn the corner. They beat the Eagles by 17 last week. They're up. I was out playing golf, and I look, and it's 19-0, and it's 26-8 with whatever, 7 minutes to go. And then all of a sudden, the Broncos become the very first team in the history of the NFL to score over 30 points in the fourth quarter after having been shut out through the first three quarters. Then it was just one big play or dumb play after another. Ultimately, a missed extra point, the second in the game by the Giants. And the Broncos come down 2 plays inside of 30 seconds. They win 33-32. Let's start right there. Have you ever seen a game with this many ups and downs and twists and turns in your fandom?
Absolutely not. Coach, I'm going to give a little shout out to the great people at Code 3. I don't think there's another fan base who needs more paramedics than New York Giants fans right now. It's just absolutely brutal. And I had the privilege to watch that game live with the Coach and Company crew on the Sunday evening show. I couldn't even believe what we were watching. Coach, I was going to tee you up over text message because Sean Payton runs out onto the field, costs his team 15 yards. I go, Sean Payton, you're giving Coach more content. And then Brian Daboll gives you even more content. I'm like, come on, Brian Daboll.
It is, and I'm not worried about it from as a fan. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a Chiefs fan, and they now have a. What are you guys doing? Oh my God, I'm sorry. All that noise is my two dogs. Is there's still one game up, and that's what makes this maybe even a better story is the fact that you have a first place team that did it, and if the Broncos down the line get in by a game, or maybe they get the one, who knows? But this is going to be the game they look back at and say that was the swing. But let's look at it from the Giants' perspective. They're not a playoff team. We know they're not a playoff team, but they're a team with a head coach that's in his third or fourth year, and he's been talked about as if they don't play well, that maybe this will be the last season. But the way they blew that, and Dart played well until that horrible 5 minutes ago. Why are we even throwing the ball at that point? Run it, punt it, and time is on your side. But instead, it's a pick six, and it flips everything around. I thought the Giants made so many bad mistakes, but they have a lot of young players. But if you look at the positive, Cam Scatterboo, I hit 2 best bets yesterday. They have really good components here that I think will learn from this type of loss.
Yeah, I'm really curious what Brian Daboll has on the New York Giants front office, because when you have a game where you commit 5 straight turnovers and lose to the New Orleans Saints, their only victory of the season, that's brutal. Then you lose this game in Denver where your star edge rusher, Brian Burns, is dropping expletives in the tunnel about having 8 in coverage. It's just one of those things where it should be the final nail in the coffin for Brian Daboll. But I think where he is, and given some of the building blocks they have in New York, I think he might be safe.
I think that we forget that buyouts in the NFL, yes, these are most of the teams billionaire owners. But in college, you've got the collective that will pay the buyout. Here, it's the owner, and they don't like to get in the habit of paying multiple head coaches at the same time. I think that's one of the reasons. I also think that Jackson Dart has shown that Brian Daboll's a pretty good quarterback coach. And I think when you look at the weapons that they have, and we know that Neighbors is out, he could be back next year, that maybe the front office is saying, you know what? There's been other instances where other coaches have made it through this type of a patch and come out the other side and had a really good career. Do you think maybe that's their mindset a little bit?
It has to be. The other part of their mindset is at least we're not Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. But in all seriousness, when you look at what the Giants have, it's exactly what you said, Coach. They've had two guys who have taken over the NFL as fascinating players, two young brands coming into the NFL in Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo. You're kind of taking the NFL by storm. So you're not winning games. But as you mentioned, you're without Malik Neighbors. Theo Johnson at tight end is Jackson Dart's best friend. So this might be something where Brian Daboll goes, just give me a little bit more time. Because I promise you this, Coach, if he was the head coach of the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Commanders, any other team in the NFC East where the expectations were real, when you see the outburst that some of the players had last night, he would be fired as of this morning.
It's interesting that you bring up the yelling at dropping 8 into coverage. I don't know how many more games I got to watch in my lifetime for defensive coaches to understand when you played at Mile High Air, let's add that into it, and your defense is clearly gassed. Why would you then drop 8 into coverage when the minds are weaker and you want to shorten the game and maybe make Bo Nix make a mistake, which he's been prone to do? But when you drop them back after they've been on the field the entire fourth quarter, what did they expect? Those guys were wide open with less than 30 seconds to go. It was the dumbest defensive play call ever. I want guys rushing, and if you beat me, you beat me. But you're going to get beat that way anyway. All right, let's move on to game number 2. And for those of you new to our podcast, we don't always just do the biggest games. We do some of the biggest storylines. The Chicago Bears are currently just a half game back of the Green Bay Packers in the Central. The North. I'm thinking of baseball. And you're a Chicago Bears fan. And it's not like Caleb Williams has been playing great, but they beat the Saints yesterday. They've now beat the Commanders and the Saints. What are the Bears doing to get these wins and to currently be 2 games over 500?
Well, their defense is playing out of their minds right now. This is without Jalen Johnson, their top cornerback, without Grady Jarrett, their big free agent signing at defensive tackle this offseason. I want to just give them a tip of the cap, hats off, everything to Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, not only for how the team played yesterday, but, Dennis Allen fired by the New Orleans Saints, and he said all week, this game didn't mean anything personal to him. And then he comes into the locker room, Ben Johnson gives him a game ball, and he says, sometimes you're not wanted in certain places, and that's okay because I love being right here. Those guys played up for their defensive coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. But the other thing I think is very important, accountability. This is a team that called for accountability in the 2024 season when Matt Eberflus failed them. And every single game, win or loss, Ben Johnson, we weren't good here. We weren't good there. Calls out Caleb Williams. Not afraid to be a hard coach. You can be a hard coach and a player's coach at the same time, and Ben Johnson's proving that.
By the way, if you're a Saints player, Alvin Kamara says he wants to spend the rest of his career there. Raphael lives in New Orleans. I've been there many times. I've been in the hospital there. Hurricanes are a bitch. I don't know why anybody would want to stay there to play. I really don't. Superdome was a horrible venue. It's all the way bad. But the Bears, they're getting ready to get a new place to play in. When is that going to be ready? A year?
I believe 2027, I believe, right where I used to live. So, you know what happened? I didn't get paid to do so, but George McCaskey and the Bears called me and said, hey, could you move out of Arlington Heights so we can move our stadium in? We don't want you anywhere within our new stadium. So I said, all right.
It happens. I mean, at least you're not holding it against them. Another big game yesterday, and this is it's probably the most mind-blowing, consistent storyline in the NFL, and that is the popularity of the Dallas Cowboys. 28 years and counting since they've done anything in the playoffs, even sniffed a Super Bowl, and they go out yesterday. Jaden Daniels, he gets hurt. We'll address him in a second. But the Cowboys scored 44. It's amazing when you get your stars back what you're able to do like that. CeeDee Lamb over 100 yards, Pickens over 80 yards receiving, and Dak Prescott clean 3 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. They are now 3-3-1. That one could help them down the road. When you watch this Dallas team play on days when they score 40, like they did against the Packers, they look like world beaters. Why can't they do this every single week?
Because you can't outscore a team every single week. It's simply not how it's going to work. And unfortunately, being in the NFC East, when it comes to November, December, and playoff time, you're not going to have the luxury of playing at home because of that said record at 3-3-1. You're not going to be able to bring other teams into Jerry's world. And by the way, that hasn't always been beneficial for them either. So you're going to have to change your offensive scheme when it gets colder and you can't throw the ball all over the field. The Cowboys are a nice story right now, but I'm not ready to take them super seriously just yet.
On the other side, Washington was a playoff team a year ago. By the way, if the Giants would have won yesterday, they'd be tied with the Commanders at 3-4. They'd be I said they're not a playoff team. I take that back. They would have been very much alive. Now they're 2-5. So Washington and Jaden Daniels' mother, who I think in some delusional world feels like she's a celebrity now too. Yesterday, hanging out with Tom Brady and Aaron Andrews on the sidelines, and then going to Twitter after the game because the natural comparison, Mikey, is to RG3. RG3 was a Washington quarterback. He was an NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, just like Jaden Daniels. And then knee injuries started sidelining him season after season after season. And then ultimately he quit and got into broadcasting. She's like, don't make the comparison. Some people, and she even went on to say, don't speak it into existence. There are people that believe manifesting is a very real thing in certain instances. I like to manifest, but to me, this is not manifesting. Is she out of bounds with this?
She absolutely is out of bounds. Welcome to the world of sports, Mama Daniels. Every single year, every single sport. Let's just talk about Aaron Judge in New York. Guess who he's getting compared to? Babe Ruth. I mean, I'm so sorry that your career trajectory means you are going to get compared to another player who went through the similar situation. That is literally what we call sports and narratives in sports. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what the future of Washington is, but I know this, that if I have to hang my hat with Marcus Mariota as my quarterback and think I'm going to make it to the playoffs, I don't feel very good about it. But at least you have a quarterback who started in the league. The Bengals had to make a trade to get a guy to come in Joe Flacco because Jake Browning. So I think more than ever, we're seeing how important starters are, but backups are, because you see in Minnesota, Carson Wentz yesterday, it takes them a while to get going. And by then, the Eagles had such a big lead that the comeback came. And I know there's controversy there, an overturned touchdown, all of that. But right now, backups, I think you're going to start seeing some of them, Mikey, make $10 million a year and more, because starters are 40 to 60 now. Is that crazy to say?
No, Coach, if you remember coming into the season, I'll look at the Chicago Bears. Everyone was giving a little flack to Tyson Bagent, who signed a 2-year, $10 million extension. He had tears in his eyes. People were like, oh, he's the backup quarterback. He's making $5 million. Why? Because it is that important to not only have job security, but know at the drop of a pen, you could really be out there and playing and having to protect your team's season. I was one of the people who believed Jake Browning was going to save the Bengals season. Boy, was I wrong.
Well, I think we got to give credit, which we normally don't do, to the Bengals front office, because they clearly see him every day. And I think he threw 8 interceptions, something like that. And they said, you know what? We're not going to waste Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson for his last season. We've got to try something. And they looked really, really good against the Steelers. So at 3-4, the Bengals are very much alive in this thing with 10 games to play. All right, final game I want to hit on, and then a reminder, we'll break down both of the Monday Night Football games tonight at 6:45 p.m. Eastern time on the Monday Night Grind. The New England Patriots. I feel like when I watch this team, Mike Vrabel very quickly has put together a solid, successful football team. And it started with the drafting of Drake May. And lately, the last 4 or 5 years, first-round draft picks have not turned out to be franchise quarterbacks. In fact, the year that Trevor Lawrence was drafted, he's the only quarterback still with his team that was drafted that particular year. But Drake May, nearly perfect yesterday. 21 of 23, 222 in the air, 2 touchdowns. Two-part question. Is he going to be the guy for the next 10 or 15 years? And how good do you think this Patriots team at 5-2, first place, all by themselves, how good are they right now?
I'm going to start with the first one. He's very good. I do believe he will be the guy for New England. Let's just look at yesterday. 21 of 23. Yeah, he set a New England Patriots franchise record for completion percentage in a game. Tom Brady. That's who he beat out. I look at this New England Patriots team just simply based off the fact that they beat the Buffalo Bills and they have that tiebreaker, at least right now. They are a serious contender. There is something to be said of not only finding the right fit between quarterback and head coach, but falling in line with an organization's beliefs. And when we talked about Tom Brady's, era in New England, we talked about the Patriot way. I think Mike Vrabel, who played there, who lived it, who understands it, has now gotten Drake May to buy into the Patriot way. And when you buy into the Patriot way, you're usually a winning football team. So I think they'll be very good this year. Not ready to put them as serious playoff contenders as far as winning the AFC, but I do think they'll beat up on some teams we don't expect them to.
They have the luxury, Mikey, of having a non-first place schedule. And for those new fans out there, the NFL likes to keep parity. They don't like one team to dominate for many, 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 many years. And so all the first place teams play each other and so forth. So when you look at their schedule, and at 5-2, they still have the Bills coming to their house. And that game is going to be the week after their bye. They couldn't be set up, Mikey, any better than that. You've got Cleveland, Atlanta at home, then at Tampa, Jets at home, at Cincinnati. That's all of a sudden looks like a much harder game. And then the Giants, not going to be a walkover either. Then you have Buffalo, then at Baltimore, at the Jets. So if they can get to those final 3 weeks, you're going to give me the Ravens and the Jets in Miami. I don't care where those damn games are. Those guys are already booking their, trips to Aruba. So to me, I think the Patriots are going to be a playoff team this year. I really, really, really do. I would just love it. And this is my sadistic side. If they were the reason that the Bills don't get the number 1 seed, don't get the Chiefs in their house in the playoffs, or just don't win the AFC East, because right now they own the tiebreaker. If they beat the Buffalo Bills, they'll own all the tiebreakers against them. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Like, really beautiful?
It would, obviously, as a Chiefs fan, it would be the most beautiful. And as I stand on Kiss Up Mountain, yes, Coach, there's never anything better that could happen for the Kansas City Chiefs. But let me ask you this, Coach. Are you surprised? We saw Mike Vrabel take the Tennessee Titans into the playoffs and continue to win games in the playoffs. This is not surprising. Mike Vrabel, to his credit, with all due respect to all other NFL coaches, might be one of the most underrated coaches because he just finds a way to win football games.
When you see him on the sideline, I didn't realize how big he was. That dude is big. And he stands over the officials trying to talk to him, and they're like, damn, Mike, easy, big dog. Woo! He's going to be there for a minute. All right, we never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes. You can catch us every single weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Stadium, Bally Sports Live, on YouTube, on socials. Join us today. Turn on your notifications. We have a ton of shows that we're going to get to today, and we love that you guys are a part of it. The chat queen is there. Oh, who else is that? Oh, Seabass. Oh, Seabass is in the chat. What up, Seabass? Good to see you, man. All right, that's going to do it for now. Mikey, I'll see you tonight on the Monday Night Grind. For Mikey, producer man, I'm the coach. This has been the Coach and Company podcast, and there is only one. We'll see you later today. Take care.